Right now, somewhere in the Western Pacific, a 19-year-old sailor is standing on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier in 60-knot wind. The deck is wet, the ship is rolling, the salt spray is hitting hard enough to sting through clothing. And this sailor is dragging a steel chain across a surface that is pitching beneath their feet, attaching it to a fighter jet that costs $70 million. 20 chains per aircraft, each one rated to hold thousands of pounds, each one connected to a steel anchor point welded directly into the deck. That is it. That is the system. Steel chains, steel anchors, and human hands. No automation, no robots, no safety net. If the chains hold, the jet stays. If they do not, $70 million slides off the edge and disappears into the ocean. A Nimitz-class aircraft carrier can carry over 60 aircraft. A Ford-class can carry more than 75. Each one of those aircraft, fighters, electronic warfare planes, helicopters, surveillance aircraft, costs tens of millions of dollars. Some cost over $100 million. The total air wing aboard a single carrier represents billions of dollars in military hardware. And all of it sits on an open steel deck, 4.5 acres wide, 60 feet above the waterline, exposed to every storm the ocean produces. In fair weather, each aircraft is secured to the flight deck with 4 to 6 tie-down chains. That is enough to keep a parked jet in place during normal operations. But when the weather changes, when a storm system develops and the seas begin to build, the number of chains goes up. 14 chains in moderate weather, 20 in heavy weather, 24 or more when conditions become extreme. The chains are attached to fittings called pad-eyes, star-shaped steel anchor points embedded directly into the flight deck by the thousands. They are simple, ancient technology, and they are the only thing standing between a $70 million aircraft and the bottom of the Pacific. But the chains cannot help if the storm arrives before the crew is ready, and the job of making sure that never happens belongs to a team that most people have never heard of. Deep inside the island superstructure of an aircraft carrier, there is a room that most crew members will never enter. It is filled with satellite terminals, weather radar displays, and ocean surface analysis charts that update continuously. This is the METOC office, Meteorology and Oceanography, and the sailors who work here are called aerographers' mates. Their job is to see the future, not hours ahead, days. An aerographer's mate on a deployed carrier is tracking weather systems across an entire ocean basin, running predictive models, interpreting satellite imagery, and producing forecasts that will determine the ship's course, the flight schedule, and whether the air wing on the flight deck needs to be secured for heavy weather. They work with data feeds from the Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command, satellite radar altimetry, ocean temperature profiles, and atmospheric soundings. They cross-reference multiple forecast models, identify discrepancies, and present their analysis to the commanding officer, who will use that information to decide whether to alter the ship's track, cancel flight operations, or prepare the flight deck for a storm that is still 2 days away. 2 days. That is the window, and it is not always enough. Weather at sea is not like weather on land. A tropical system can intensify from a minor disturbance to a dangerous cyclone in 24 hours. A squall line can form with almost no warning, producing wind gusts that exceed 70 knots in minutes. And the ocean itself responds to weather in ways that compound the danger. Wave heights that build over hundreds of miles of open water, creating sea states that no forecast model can predict with complete accuracy. The aerographers' mates are racing the storm with math. And when the math says the storm will arrive before the ship can move out of its path, the call goes out. Condition 1: heavy weather. That call triggers a sequence of events that transforms the flight deck from an active airfield into a fortress. And the people who execute that transformation are some of the youngest sailors aboard, Aviation Boatswain's mates. The sailors who handle aircraft on the flight deck are known by their rating abbreviation, ABH. They are often among the youngest and most junior crew members aboard. Many are 19 or 20 years old. Their first deployment may be their first time at sea. And when Condition 1: heavy weather is called, they are the ones who go outside. The process begins hours before the storm arrives. Every aircraft on the flight deck must be either moved below to the hangar deck via the ship's massive elevators or reconfigured from standard tie-down to heavy weather tie-down. Heavy weather tie-down means more chains, many more. A fighter jet in normal conditions is secured with 4 to 6 chains. In heavy weather, that number can exceed 20. Each chain is a steel assembly rated for thousands of pounds of load, attached at one end to the aircraft's designated tie-down point and at the other to a pad-eye in the deck. Think of it as a steel leash for a 30,000-pound dog, except the dog is sitting on a surface that tilts, rolls, and is covered in salt spray. The sailors work in teams, often at night, in wind that makes verbal communication impossible. They drag chains across a deck that is already wet, already moving, and getting worse by the hour. The aircraft are positioned facing into the forecast wind direction to minimize aerodynamic lift on the wings. Fuel loads are reduced when possible. A lighter aircraft is less likely to break free. Every chain must be tensioned correctly. Too loose, and the aircraft has room to shift, building momentum with each roll of the ship until the chain snaps. Too tight, and the chain itself becomes brittle under dynamic loading, failing at precisely the moment it is needed most. This is not automated. There is no machine that attaches chains to jets on a rolling flight deck. It is done by hand, by sailors who are 19 years old, wearing helmets, goggles, and float coats, working on a surface that a civilian would consider too dangerous to walk across. And if they get it wrong, if a chain is missed, or improperly tensioned, or attached to a damaged pad-eye, the consequences can be catastrophic. A 30,000-pound fighter jet, once it breaks free of its chains on a rolling deck, becomes a projectile. It will slide into other aircraft. It will rupture fuel cells, and on a ship carrying millions of gallons of aviation fuel, a ruptured fuel cell is not a maintenance problem. It is a fire. And fire on a carrier flight deck is one of the most dangerous emergencies in naval warfare. The chain is $40. The jet is $70 million. The margin between keeping it and losing it is a 19-year-old's hands. December 1944. Typhoon Cobra. Admiral Halsey's Third Fleet in the Philippine Sea. The storm struck with winds exceeding 170 miles per hour and waves reaching 90 feet. Across the fleet, aircraft broke free of their tie-downs on both flight decks and hangar decks. Aviation fuel spilled. Fires erupted. On the carrier Monterey, the hangar deck became a furnace as loose aircraft collided, ruptured fuel lines, and ignited. 146 aircraft were destroyed or swept overboard across the fleet in a single storm. 790 sailors were killed. 3 destroyers capsized and sank. The loss was staggering. And the primary cause was not the wind or the waves. It was the failure to adequately secure aircraft before the storm reached its peak. But even modern protocols are not perfect. On July 8, 2022, the aircraft carrier, USS Harry S. Truman, was conducting routine operations in the Mediterranean Sea when an unexpected squall struck with sudden, violent winds. An F/A-18E Super Hornet was blown off the flight deck and into the water. No one was aboard the aircraft at the time. One sailor sustained minor injuries. The jet sank to a depth of approximately 9,500 feet. The Navy recovered the aircraft 26 days later, using a remotely operated vehicle called Curve 21 to attach rigging at nearly 2 miles below the surface. The recovery was essential, not just because of the aircraft's cost, but because a modern fighter jet contains classified systems, sensors, and software that cannot be allowed to remain on the ocean floor. No system is perfect. The chains, the procedures, the forecasts, all of them reduce the risk. None of them eliminate it. Here is something that the specifications and the procedures do not capture. At 2 in the morning, on a flight deck in the Western Pacific, in wind that is building toward 50 knots, a team of Aviation Boatswain's mates is working to reconfigure 40 aircraft from standard tie-down to heavy weather tie-down. 40 aircraft, 20 or more chains each. That is 800 chain attachments, minimum. Each one dragged across a wet, rolling steel surface. Each one tensioned by hand. Each one checked, double-checked, and verified by a supervisor who is often only a year or two older than the sailors doing the work. The work takes hours. It cannot be done in shifts because the storm will not wait. It must be completed before conditions deteriorate to the point where being on the flight deck becomes more dangerous than the risk of an unsecured aircraft. And while this is happening, 60 feet below the flight deck, the hangar deck crews are conducting the same operation for the aircraft stored below. Chains, pad-eyes, tension, verification. Different space, same urgency. The entire ship is engaged. Damage control teams are sealing external hatches. Engineers are monitoring ballast systems. The bridge team is adjusting course and speed to minimize roll. The METOC office is updating forecasts every hour. The galley is still producing meals because 5,000 people still need to eat even when the ship is fighting the ocean. And through all of it, the most critical piece of equipment on the ship is not the radar. It is not the reactor. It is not the billion-dollar combat system. It is a $40 steel chain. Because every aircraft on the deck, every weapon in the magazine, every mission the carrier was built to perform, depends on whether those chains hold, and whether the 19-year-old sailors who attached them in the dark, in the rain, on a pitching deck, did the job correctly. The chain is the cheapest piece of equipment on the ship, and it is the most important. A modern aircraft carrier can survive missile strikes, torpedo detonations, and electronic warfare attacks. It carries the most advanced defensive systems ever mounted on a warship. But the system that protects its most valuable assets from the ocean is the same technology that has been used to secure cargo on ships for centuries. Steel chains, steel anchors, and human hands. That is the part of carrier operations that no one films, no one promotes, no one puts in a recruiting commercial. But it is the part that makes everything else possible. If you think that story matters, consider subscribing. We cover the people behind the machines, not just the weapons, but the hands that keep them in place. Drop a comment and tell us. Which detail surprised you most? The $40 chain protecting a $70 million jet? The 146 aircraft lost to Typhoon Cobra? The F-18 blown off the Truman and recovered from 9,500 feet? Or the fact that securing a carrier flight deck means 800 chain attachments by hand? And a question for our next video. You have seen what happens when the danger comes from outside the ship, but what happens when the danger is inside? Fire aboard a nuclear aircraft carrier, the damage control teams who fight it, and why it is considered the most terrifying emergency at sea. That story is coming next.